Good morning, Paige.
Good morning, Elissa.
How are you doing? Jet lag?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I keep having horrible sleeps, and then I keep expecting to be sleepy by 9, but up
Perfect.
till 4. Woohoo!
When is Pride in Red Deer? Do you know?
I think I literally don't know. I don't know. I think that's I should look into it, but I'm gonna be gone. But I think that's the neat thing about Pride Month is that obviously Pride Month is June, but then Pride Month is June, but there's prides literally all over Canada at different times. So you can kind of celebrate Pride Month all summer long.
No, 100%. Even so the parade in Victoria is today at 11, so in 2 hours, and yeah, I think it's something that's really important and exciting, and the fact that I'll be able to see so many people there that are part of our community is really exciting, I would say.
Yeah, I completely agree. How important is it to you that Pride Month is celebrated?
I think that's really important, and throughout the year, I think there's still so many things happening in the world, and we've traveled to places for rugby, for instance, like Dubai or other places where it's still illegal to be who we are, honestly. And so the visibility that we get through either social media or even events like Pride, I think is still so important so that people can actually be themselves and celebrate who they are. Yeah, so I think until it's safer everywhere, it still needs to be something that comes up all the time in different countries so that they can see that it's important, I guess. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, it's a nod to the history of the LGBTQ plus community and that it wasn't always safe and it wasn't always equal. You weren't always treated equally as a member. Yeah, and obviously, Pride Month is amazing, but it actually speaks to a lot of the pillars as rugby players. It's about diversity and inclusivity and equality, and those are the pillars of Pride Month and the pillars of rugby.
Do you remember your first Pride?
Yeah.
Celebration? Where was it? Or how was it? How old were you?
I was 19, and Red Deer, I'm pretty sure, didn't have Pride for a really long time. So I was visiting Toronto, and it was World Pride, young 19-year-old blossoming into herself. And it was amazing. And I think Toronto comes out in a really, really big way. And it was just, I remember being genuinely gobsmacked by the amount of, not just the amount of members of the LGBTQ plus that are at Pride, but the amount of allies we have. And that was really big for me, how important Pride Month is to show your allyship and to show that this is to normalize it. This is what it should be like.
No, I agree. I think 12 Yard is similar to Red Deer in the sense where I don't even know if to this day they have a Pride celebration. I remember growing up, there was maybe one gay bar, and they kept saying it kept getting burnt down for no reason. And so, yeah, so I think similar to you, my first one was Montreal, so a bigger hub. And I remember it kind of instigating more thoughts, obviously for myself, but also conversations with family and stuff like that. People still to this day in 12 Yard don't necessarily understand why Pride is so important, or the usual well, we don't celebrate that we're not gay or something. And it's just, I think just having those conversations and being vulnerable in the sense of there's still a lot of work to be done. That's why some people are proud to be still alive to celebrate who they are, just because it hasn't always been easy and stuff like that. So I feel even to this day I still have those conversations with people back home. Sometimes smaller towns are a bit harder in terms of eye-opening.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Red Deer, it's been nice to see Red Deer is a small city in the middle of Alberta, not always the most progressive, and it's been nice to see over the years. I remember when they you know how they, over cities in Canada, they paint the rainbow flag on crosswalks, and the very first time Red Deer did that, somebody the day after made sure to burn their tires out on it. And I remember thinking wow, this makes me feel really safe to be a member of the LGBTQ plus community and Red Deer. And it's been nice to see over the years the Rainbow Walk continues. There is a Pride celebration. There are drag shows. Like it's getting better, even in Little Red Deer.
That's awesome. That's amazing to hear. Yeah, and I feel like if we translate that, like you said it a little bit with the rugby community, like I feel so myself within the rugby community. It's just such an inclusive sport, and people from so many different parts of Canada and the world and stuff like that, that sometimes when I go back in like normal society, I forget that there's still differences there just because rugby is so inclusive. Have you felt that as well?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, I was thinking about my journey as as coming out, and just because I was from a small city in Alberta, I remember not having representation, and like being a kid and a teenager, and all my friends having crushes on boys and all my friends having boyfriends, and I genuinely did not think I was gay. I just thought that I was different. I was like, I don't have any interest in having a boyfriend, or I don't have any crushes on boys, so I'll fake a few. But I remember genuinely not having representation, so not thinking it was an option. Like, if you don't see it, you can't be it. And then when I went to first year university in a bigger city, and like seeing like more and more representation, and then actually eventually kind of probably like that true like moment where I was like, I'm gay, was when I was on the Canada U20 team, and there was more and more representation in the team, and I just thought like, okay, like, these people are like me, we think alike, maybe I'm gay. And like truly like having like a light bulb moment at the age of 18, being like, I'm gay.
Like the little things all kind of lined up, and you're like, okay, this is making more sense a little bit.
Yeah, this is why I preferred Keira Knightley's character in Pirates of the Caribbean to Orlando Bloom's character.
That's so fair. No, yeah, I think we're kind of like from similar sized towns a little bit, and you know, the Quebec like Catholic side of things as well. And it's just like triggering. Like sometimes people don't really know how what they're saying around certain people can affect them. And so before I was out, like I remember, you know, like a close family member or close friend saying like, oh, like, or that's so gay, or this or that, or like, oh, I have nothing against the gays, like as long as they don't approach me or something, or you know, just passing comments that they're just kind of joking, or don't. And then inside of me, when I was like starting to think that I might be gay, I was like, oh, like correlating it to something negative, I guess, versus something positive. But yeah, I didn't even think that I would ever be able to do a talk like this, you know, like back, if I go back into my teen brain of why I don't want a boyfriend or why things aren't happening like my friends are, and then now to being able to like proudly talk about who I am and who I love and stuff like that. Like it's just mind-blowing sometimes when you pause and have these discussions to, you know, there's been things have improved in a lot of ways, and there's still like obviously a lot of growth to be had there, but rugby has always been a safe space, which has been nice.
Yeah, and like to touch on like something that you said earlier, like being in that rugby community, like I think we've both been so fortunate. Like we've gotten to do so much with rugby, and like everyone who's close to me is somehow involved in the rugby community. So even when I'm outside of rugby, I'm still inside of rugby. So I have like the rugby community is so inclusive and so diverse, and has always been really accepting. And so when I even when I leave rugby practice, I go home and my roommates are from rugby and my friends are from rugby, and it's such a beautiful reality in which we live, because like I've never been able to, like I never thought, just like you, like that I would be able to be so confident about my sexuality, but the rugby community made it possible, because I've never revealed something to the rugby community that they haven't accepted. So it really has like built a lot of confidence in me to be who I am. And then again, like when I go back, like Red Deer, it's getting better, but like even like when you like take a step outside and you go to restaurants, or like I remember like I've gone on like vacations before where I'm like, ooh, not sure I should hold my partner's hand here, because like not really sure how this country feels about it. And it's been such a blessing to be like genuinely constantly consumed by the rugby community and how inclusive it is.